let's get the panel in and let's talk to everybody. Here, I shall introduce you all when you come on the panel for this wonderful show which we call Showers with All Senses. All right, so there you are. So the entire group is there, all 8 of us. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening in Shanghai. Well past good morning in London, where Monica is logging in from. And all right, so we've had a beautiful presentation, a wonderfully informative presentation by Thomas. Thomas, thank you so much for this. Hansgrohe is as big as it gets in the category, right? And a preferred brand, not just in hospitality, but across verticals, across domains. And who better than some of the best architects, best designer, the best project heads and the best procurement head from the industry to talk about it. Let me welcome to the show our moderator first. I shall come to the ladies after this. Sid Barua. Sid Barua is the country director for WATG London. He shuttles between London and Delhi, Gurgaon, right? And he's responsible for overseeing WATG's operations and delivery throughout India and its neighboring countries. He is also the commercial manager for WATG India region and is responsible for devising and deploying strategies for the company's growth. Sid also sits on the Sultan Qaboos University's Industrial Advisory Board, that is Oman, for the uninitiated. And then, of course, Sonali Bhagwati, a very tall name in the industry, a very big name in the industry, a giant, both she and her husband. Sonali is the president for DesignPlus Architecture. She started an internationally recognized design firm in partnership with Saurabh Dalal. Saurabh also happens to be her husband now. Spezio Design Architecture. She's the president of DesignPlus Architecture after the merger of DPA and Spezio. Her experience and expertise in architecture and interior design has been recognized by way of numerous awards and accolades. She has been published as one of the 20 best architects in India. She's been regularly featured as Hot 100 Contemporary Indian Architects. She's been named as one of the top 12 interior architects in the country. Have I missed anything, Sonali? Having said that, we go over to Monica. Monica Malhotra Kandhari. She's the managing director of the MBD group. She shall tell you more about what she's doing in a bit. But let me tell you, both these sisters are doing quite a bit. Apart from running the MBD Radisson hotels, they also have a wonderful partnership which she will speak about herself. She's a second generation entrepreneur and is the managing director of the MBD Group. Almost 2 decades ago, MBD Group, the leading education company of India, diversified into the hospitality sector. All the hotels managed by the group have won numerous awards in various categories, be it for the best hotel or the best rated restaurant. I can tell you about the food. Their food is to die for, right? Radisson food, who doesn't know Radisson food? I shall come across and walk to the young debonair Sahil Khan, right? We were having a chat with each other and he said, well, just the NA is missing. Khan and Khanna, I'm just about the same. His mother's a Khanna, by the way. Sahil is the Senior Director, Design and Technical Services for South Asia for the Radisson Group. Sahil is a leading design and technical services professional for Radisson Group in South Asia and is responsible for the rollout of 8 hotel brands for Radisson Hotels, with more than 65 active projects in different stages of design and construction. Prior to Radisson, Sahil has had a career spanning more than a decade with the Oberoi Hotels and Resorts and MR. Right? I'll walk across to Arvind Mathur. Arvind is a tall name in the procurement business in the hospitality industry. Well, also my junior from Modern School. He is the regional director from Regional Director Strategic Sourcing for South Asia for the Radisson Group. Sorry, I got logged out. So, and Thomas Stopper, I've already spoken about. Last but not the least, my good friend Gaurav. Gaurav is an engineer, an MBA, of course, an IM, and a leading man of the industry. I mean, he's done some of the best brands. When you talk to people in the hospitality industry and you tell them, well, I'm doing a show with Hansgrohe, they said, is Gaurav there? I said, of course he's there. So he leads the South Asia business, which we call the SAARC business. In addition to his SAARC leadership role, Gaurav is heading the key accounts efforts of Hansgrohe in Asia. He holds an experience of 21 years and works extensively in leadership roles in building and construction domain. I don't want to take away more of a punch. I shall hand over the hot break to Siddharth, my partner, who shall moderate the show. Over to you, Sid. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you for the kind introduction, Bhuvanesh. And am I audible to everyone?
You are.
Yeah, okay. And welcome, fellow panelists.
We can hear you.
Thank you.
Great. And welcome, fellow panelists. I'm delighted to be moderating this discussion. Well, Bhuvanesh might have said WATG and country director, etc., but I am an architect first. And I would like to consider myself fortunate to be associated with the hospitality design and into the exploration of luxury because I'm a part of WATG. For those who do not know WATG, we are hotel and resort designers with a legacy of 75 years. And today, about 1,45,000 people are checking every night into a room designed by WATG worldwide. Of course, on a 100% hypothetical situation, 100% occupancy. That also means that 1,45,000 people are showering. Okay, so we at WATG are always enthusiastic on exploring how a guest would be wanting to feel when he's using the bathroom. We're especially conscious to imagine what the guest would like to feel on a business trip versus on a holiday. We are conscious about how to make a difference when the guest is using a shower in the morning versus when he's coming back after a work day and using it in the night or for other pleasures. We also are mindful of his safety when he, wakes up in the middle of the night to catch to have a shower just before his red eye. Very recently, I actually took part in an online survey passed on by one of our management consultants here in India, asking how important the bathroom was to me before I would book a holiday, and I did ask myself. I checked in. I'm fortunate that I check into about 50 different hotel rooms in a year because of the nature of our work for trips and business trips and holidays. Yes, there have been instances when I have resolved not to return to a hotel, or maybe only if there is no other option available because of how my showering experience made me feel. Online travel agents, if you look at them, the OTA apps, you will see that there's a review button for the bathroom, and that adds to the main review of the property. So that affects in the guest making his booking. So showers and bathrooms are big boys in the hotel industry. I must also confess, there have been instances when I emptied an entire bathtub after a soothing bath at the end of my long business day, and realizing the time it took to empty, I felt terrible as well as terrified at how much water I consumed. So with all of that in the back of my head, I thought this panel this would be a great opportunity to actually brainstorm with the panel members here and the audience today to understand what we think should be the basics that go into the bathroom design, which are non-negotiable, and the ways we can achieve a shower with all senses. We need to think about how responsibly we can design today's bathroom, or how luxury can be realized in the showering experience, be it with great space planning or technology or fixtures. Look at what Hansgrohe just showed us. Maybe that itself is luxury. I'm an architect, so I will begin this discussion with a question to the practicing consultant in the panel, Sonali. Sonali, are you around? Okay. Yeah. So Sonali, most designers, including I, are faced with the challenge. How are you today?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Good, thanks. Sonali, like most designers, I and you are, we are faced with a challenge often that we arrive at, designing a bathroom. We given up that, that grid next to a hotel room or a bedroom, and we need to make that, an experience for the user, for the guest. But I've seen some of your work, and and the images of the bathrooms in it are a delight to the eye. What do you usually keep in mind or tell yourself on how to enhance the experience of the user? What is on your checklist?
A bathroom is not really a bathroom, it's an extension of your living space. So I would say that, um, you know, today a bathroom is like a car which has many, many models for many, many different types of people. So a bathroom is similar to that. Let's say, a 3-star, 4-star business hotel, where there is a lot of emphasis on functionality. Uh, 3 or 4-star business hotel, to my mind, is like the old-fashioned circuit houses. When I was a child, we always traveled all over the country with my parents, and we always lived in circuit houses. And all the circuit houses had the same experience. They had the same, they were different places, but they had the same feel, and you know exactly what to expect from one circuit house to another, whether it was in the middle of a game sanctuary, or it was in a city or a town, or whatever it may be.
Right.
So to me, a 4-star business hotel is pretty much like that. It's a standardized experience. People know what they're going to get, and that generates a sense of comfort when you're traveling for work. You want a sense of familiarity. So that's why these hotels, have bathrooms, and the experience is a very standard experience where they know that the fixtures and things used are simple, basic. They all work. They work in the same way. So there is, the brand standards and the design standards that are generated land up sort of ensuring that.
Right.
It's normally 3 fixtures, or on the outside a 4-fixture bathroom, with a very clean experience. It's a no nonsense where you go in, everything works, the colors are neutral, fixtures are simple to operate. There's nothing complicated about it. And that's what it is. The same way the room is, the same way the food is, and so on and so forth. So the moment you enter a 4-star business hotel, you know what to expect, and you just go through the motion without really realizing what is the experience. They're not supposed to give you an experience, because good, it cannot go beyond a point, but it cannot be bad either. It has to be that sense of comfort. When we come to, let's say, a luxury hotel or a resort hotel or a heritage hotel, that's where the game changes. So those kind of hotels are where the rooms are non-standardized, the spaces are non-standardized, the experience is non-standardized. And that's what the beauty is, because they want to create a sense of drama, a sense of mystery, a sense of intrigue. Every time you go into a place, or every different kind of hotel you go into, it cannot be standardized. So your bathrooms can vary according to the room, from any size to any size. It could have anywhere between 4 to 6 or 7 fixtures. It could have outdoor showers. It could have courtyards. It could have indoor landscape. It could have lots of things. But in spite of that, most of them still have fittings which are, I would say, definitely more, I would say, bespoke from the standard sizes, but still not something which is hugely complex that can create a sense of confusion in the user. So the experience is normally created with everything else, including your lighting, including floor patterns, including materials, textures, inlays, different types of fixtures, in terms of your fittings and fixtures, and the overall experience that's created. However, I would say when it comes to the faucets and fittings, it is normally something that is reasonably easy to operate from a sense of convenience. So this is what is like what we call the bespoke, where you have a person coming to that place for the experience. Then when you come to, let's say, a mid-market developer who builds apartment housing or a condominium housing, that's where there is a huge emphasis on functionality and storage, because that's one of the most important things in an Indian home. So, in terms of the kind of counters you give, the kind of storages you create, the lighting, so it's very, very heavy on functionality, but there is a huge emphasis on cost. So normally a very big budget range is used over there. But when you go to high-end residences, that's where the whole story changes. And today, literally sky's the limit, because we are looking at actually bathrooms which are like little homes. We are looking at bathrooms where there are 7, 8, 9 fixtures. You have highlights, you have landscape, you have all sorts of underfloor. You have everything that you can think of, and it's the way you put it together is what would give the experience. It's not just merely the luxurious ingredients, but the way you compose them. That is what should create the experience, according to me.
Awesome.
So
So now you have. Sorry. Please go ahead.
So I think it's just the way you put things together. So there are different strokes for different folks, different experiences, and it has to be looked at individually.
Wow, Sonali, you have like covered the whole spectrum. Very impressive. Keep up the good work. Speaking of design and planning, while we understand from Sonali how she covers all spectrums of a bathroom, let's go to Sahil, another designer in the forum, in the panel. Sahil, hi Sahil. Sahil.
Hi Siddharth.
Right. Okay, right. So, Sahil, you are part of the design delivery in the Radisson hotel group. Right? So, what do you prioritize for your guests in the bathroom that you get designed? Is it guest experience, sophistication, aesthetics? I also have another part to that question. Do you think the form and space of the bathroom must be solid and frozen and is perfect before the showers or the lighting come in? Or do you think that even the most mundane or, difficult bathroom can be a delightful experience because of the fixture or, because of the technology? What is your take on it?
So, Siddharth, as a student of design myself, and somebody who is now into a role of design management, I would always encourage consultants to design well and design right, wherein components that are used maximum and are appropriately located. So, just to give you an example, a wash basin in the bathroom should be usually the first element as you enter the bathroom, because simply it's the most accessed element in the bathroom. And just to give you another example, if there is a placement of a bathtub in a bathroom, then preferably it should have commanding views of the outside, or maybe at least the room itself. At the same time, if there is a WC cubicle that goes in a bathroom, it can be maybe in one corner of the bathroom. So as far as the question of experience, the sophistication, and aesthetics are concerned, I believe they all go hand in hand, and they are all interlinked to one another. Guest experience obviously is of paramount importance, which is obviously delivered through pleasant aesthetics and use of sophisticated choice of materials, be it sanitary ware or CP fittings, a selection of wall finishes, etc. I do think that the layout of bathroom should first be very practical and inviting, and then comes elements like showers and lighting, which by the way are equally important in today's day and age. You can obviously design the best bathroom in the world, but unless you have the right amount of light and in the right places, or if the quality of shower is not up to the mark, guest expectations would never be fulfilled, and the guest will always feel cheated, and ultimately he will never come back to your hotel. Coming to the last part of your question, let's accept it. We are living in a day and age of so much of technology, wherein one is getting new products every day, and technology can only enhance the experience. It can rather take it to another level. But as long as you get your basics right, let me give you an example. If the WC cubicle or the char cubicle in a bathroom is not well proportioned or is not well designed or is cramped up, no matter the best WC seat on earth or the best shower head, that will still not be able to make up for the diluted experience. So to sum up, I guess one has to design well, get your basics right, focus always on guesting, be very innovative, have good aesthetics, and the use of right amount of sophisticated materials, which obviously are determined by the product one is developing. And last but not the least, use the right amount of technology, and that shall all these things put together shall enhance your guest experience.
Okay, next time I'm in one of I come out one of the showers of the Radissons in India, I'm gonna check if all these things were in place. Okay.
Yes, yes, of course.
Right. That actually makes me want to turn to the owner of two of India's most popular Radissons, Monica Malhotra. Monica, hi. Monica, Sahil and Sonali both think space planning is key, systems are wonderful. Monica, you are a hotel owner. You have an ROI to meet at the end of the day. What would you ask your next designers to keep in mind when designing the next set of bathrooms? What is your design condition for the guest for that bathroom? What is it usually?
Hi Siddharth, thank you for the question, and thank you Bhuvanesh for introducing all of us. And I see the panel is Radisson heavy, and I'm very happy that we are in majority today. And we, apart from the two Radisson hotels, which we are handling, and we are also into joint venture with NVD, which is with Steinberger. It is the German chain, and we are bringing that to India. So that is one thing. And another thing is we also see there's a lot of space and there's a lot of demand of budget hotels, and MBD is also getting into that, starting from the first one from Goa. Now coming to your question, Siddharth, see, as an owner or as an operator, because we are owner and operator both, so I can give you the view of from both sides. See, we are market driven and competition driven, that's there, but there always has to be a room for experimentation. We are making product for 5 years or 7 years hence. If we are making in parlance to what is available in the market, or how the customer is viewing the comfort today, there has to be surprise factor. Otherwise, your product is made for probably 1 or 2 years. It is not going to live for the upcoming competition in future. So even if the cost involved in doing that surprise, the delight factor, the cost goes up by 10 to 15%, that much can be absorbed in ROI, because that also brings in the guest to the hotel. So they want to see standardized product, which we follow the standards of the brands we work with. But thankfully, they give us the flexibility and leverage to a designer also, to the owner also, to bring the surprise factor and the element, whether in the terms of layout, or whether in the terms of using the in terms of the wash basins or the WCs or the showers, the experience. So there is a basic standard which we definitely have to meet, whether it's 3 fixtures, 4 fixtures, or 5 fixtures. Beyond that, we can definitely explore. So the delight factor, the two things which brings the customer to the hotel, which is the service and the design of the hotel. So both the things put together, we can't do without one of the each. So what I think is that ROI should be we should have an eye on ROI, but there should be a space to do experimentation. But yes, we should not go whole hog and we overdo it also. And but in today's time, it is just not the space planning, it's just not the look and feel. But I feel it is more to start with the soulless functionality, as Sonali also said and Sahil also said. is more to do with functionality of the space. And after that functionality, you put all the other factors around that soul, whether it's sustainability, whether it is look and feel, whether other whatever color scheme or whatever palette which you choose from. So functionality, whether it's the room or is the toilet, and the toilets, as I agree with the other speakers, that it's become part of the room now. And the cliche going into the vestibule, having the toilet on the right, on the left side, and then going to the bedroom is also there, but then they may be innovating in some other way. But I think the layout is the first factor which I'll tell my designer that please explore another layout, because that is the first factor. That is, you don't have to think or you don't have to use any technology to view that. You don't have to use anything else to view that. And I prefer a lot a toilet layout to be very innovative, putting functionality into the center. And you can do much more with it, because you spend that me time in the toilet, as you said, Siddharth, that this is the key thing you should see in the hotels, that we are not comfortable with the toilet, you don't enter the property back again. So what I think is that we should look at the future, and we should not limit ourselves to just what is given. Whether it is a budget hotel today, the customer is well traveled. They're looking at technology, but simple technology, easy to use, definitely. So otherwise it becomes a negative feedback from the guests you're going to get. Whether it is a 4-star property, the leverage over there is less to experiment, but you can still in that arena, because they want to refresh themselves from the office. They don't want to see something similar to office straight line. But yes, minimalistic is the way we're going forward. But yes, I understand the luxury, we have more bandwidth. So as an owner, as an operator, I will definitely experiment to 10 to 15%. Definitely.
Awesome. Wow, Monica, you are probably up for setting trends. I'm very looking forward to your new properties. From owning a property to let's see how we do at procurement. Arvind, an operator who's into procurement, what do you often find when you're given a bathroom design to evaluate for procurement and operations? Again, like Monica, do you think the owner and like Sonali, the designer, may collectively wish for all they want, but what would you like to tell that team? Do you think they would go over ambitious or underplay when it comes to a bathroom?
Okay. First of all, I'd like to thank WATG Hotelier and Hansgrohe for organizing this session. I think it's a first in the industry. Thank you for that. And thank you, Siddharth, for moderating this. And I'm honored to be part of this panel with such eminent speakers. And we've got a good mix here. And like Ms. Malhotra mentioned, we've got a majority of the Radisson here today. So coming back to your question, and as already mentioned, both from an owner perspective and an operator perspective, I would like to say as an operator, you see, primarily what happens is in any such design and space planning for a bathroom, which is definitely an extension of the living space, which is the guest room itself, and not to be treated separately. Every hotel operator has a set of design standards and brand standards, which are always provided to the developer, the owner, and in turn that gets passed on to the designer to give some options of the design element and the space planning per se. Now, when that comes about, it is always given in the form of certain brands of the product itself, with certain models that are attached to it. And I would just like to mention here that Hansgrohe is our recommended partner in the EMEA region, in the Europe, Middle East and Africa region for quite some time now. And we are looking at extending the same for South Asia as well, or APAC in general. So that is work in progress, and I'm glad that we are doing this with Hansgrohe for that very reason. So once the designer comes up with those options to the ownership, typically that would then come to Sahil, my colleague who just spoke,
on this aspect and not really to me. So that is where his role becomes that much more important. And the things that are to be looked at in terms of where certain customization may be asked for by the owner or the designer themselves. That is something which all operators in today's day and age are flexible to, in the sense that we definitely need to maintain the minimum brand standard. That of course is a given. We can't go lower than that. But then again, even if we want to look at customization or kind of go a little ambitious on that, like Ms. Malhotra mentioned, that can also be done only up to a certain extent.
Right. So do you like
can't really,
hands?
yeah, we can't go overboard, and the reason for that is practically because as most operators and us also, we have a different in our portfolio we have different segments, which are the upscale, the upscale, the mid segment, and so on. So there the standards which have been made for a reason, and they are not really specific to any particular situation or culture, but they've actually been derived over many years through the experience of the multiple possibilities of the economic scenarios similar to what we're going through right now, and the cultural environments that they are being designed for, and somehow that mix in terms of the standards is always the best suited for a hotel owner. And of course it needs to be practical and functional, which is the most important aspect of this space in the room. The shower experience really is one of the two major things that at RHG we look at. One of them being the sleep experience, and the other being the shower experience, and they are both interrelated. One comes after the other. So what I would like to say here is that even for operators who probably are not focusing so much on the sleep experience, so if a person has not had a good night's sleep but he gets a good shower experience, that would probably take away the fatigue and relax the person to start his day, a work day really, or even if a person is there on holiday, it's so important to be relaxed early in the morning to start your day.
Maybe give 5-star for the bathroom instead of the sleep. Yeah.
Well, I would say it takes care of that experience. Has it not gone so well? So that's the way I like to put it. So primarily, from an owner's perspective, and what we generally like to tell them is that you definitely need to be brand compliant. That's a very important aspect. But then again, the points to be considered are that they may own more than one hotel at times with multiple brands that an ownership may have. Pricing and budget constraints are another aspect. So I wouldn't really call it underplay. It is more related to budget constraints at times, and pricing comes into play also when in a bathroom where you have both bath fittings, bath fixtures, and sanitary fixtures. So there are times when there are owners who would say that we would like to go with one company for both, rather than limiting it only to a manufacturer who's doing, let's say, bath fittings only, because they get a better deal overall in the overall scenario. So it needs to be just the right balance, which would involve the brand guidelines, the standards, the positioning of the hotel, the cultural choices, and of course the functionality of it, along with pricing. So I know of, just to give you an example, I know at times when owners are very ambitious, they would go for brands which are not really may not have a major local presence in the country, and later on they have a problem with the maintenance, the serviceability of that. That's also a very, very important aspect to be considered. Yeah.
I hope the owners have heard this. I have been part of those discussions where the owners are on one side and the operators are on the other side. And as architects, I've been in between looking at which way to go. Anyways, we now know how to bring a fixture to a bathroom or what thoughts goes behind. Let us look at what a fixture might think when he's coming to the bathroom. Thomas, hi. Thomas, for a moment, think you are not part of Hansgrohe and you are an architect. Okay, what is in a bathroom that you would like the architects to design first so that you can put your fixture in the best possible way? What is something that you would recommend the architects to do before you even bring in your products?
Wonderful question, Siddharth. Thank you for that. I mean, if you look at designing a bathroom, let us use the attitude we have at Hansgrohe and at Phoenix Design about design. It's about logic, morale, and magic, which is basically the fundamental principles of how we approach design and product design. So design isn't just a matter of taste, it's fundamentally an attitude. It is the search for the most intelligent solution for the user, which should be the ultimate goal. So at the end, it's putting the human, the user in the center of an understanding what delivers meaning to him in a bathroom. Because every user is different. A general user profile and what's important to them, and how can I deliver an experience, a bathroom experience which feeds them, which suits their needs and their delivers the meaning, like I said.
Right.
Because after all, design and functionality must go. It's aesthetic, it's style, but at the end, a good design is more than that. It should make the life easy, comfortable, and like I said, it's meaningful. And this is a very important dialogue you need to have early on with your customer and with your user in order to understand what you want to deliver. And at the end, Hansgrohe, then the technology side, we are seeing ourselves as a solution provider to you, the architect and design community, the developer community, to realize that vision at the end you have. And basically, you can see it in a way that it's our day-to-day job to improve your toolbox, so that tomorrow you have even more solutions to satisfy and wow even your users or the consumers you have in mind, which you are designing for. So in this context, technology for us, which is then enabling the architect and the design community, are, like I introduced it earlier, spray technologies, which is the water experiences, individualization technologies, which are PVD technologies, for example, to create a surface appearance of the product which matches perfectly in the design and the aesthetic taste of your customer. It is water saving technologies such as EcoSmart technologies, which are also because more and more meaning is found with the users of preserving the most prestigious resource we have on this planet, which is water. So also that is something which
Thomas, I will come back to the sustainability and I'll pick your brain on sustainability and water conservation in the next few questions. Thomas, you have to be an architect to know an answer to that. The clients can be anything. They could want this, they could want that. You will have fun. Become an architect next, Forget Hansgrohe. Come and be an architect and you will know the fun of all of that.
I come for an internship if you take me.
Yes, absolutely. That would be fun. You could be the bathroom specialist in our firm. Yeah, you would know so much about it. Right. Anyways, from the global perspective to India, Gaurav, you are part of Hansgrohe India. Now you know both sides. The global standards, the global perspective of Hansgrohe, and India. Very quickly, what are the key elements that you would like to have in every installation in India?
Sure. So a quick hello, first of all, to the fellow participants. It's a pleasure to be amongst you all. Coming back to your questions, especially with the emphasis on a quick reply, I think technology basically is a platform. And the key is that the underlying platform is used to take care of the fundamental needs of any client and hence needs of any installation. So I will say I restrict my answer to 3 basic principles that I wish were followed in every installation in the country. I think it's easy for me to pick on a few points from everybody, and that's what I will do. But the first one basically is the consumer experience. So not necessarily in that order, but ultimately the products are being made, the designs are being done, and the installations are done for the consumer. So if you look at a showering experience, it's a very intimate moment with your own body. Now, depending on the time of the day, depending on the personality, each individual would experience or want something different from a shower. Somebody would want a soft, relaxing spray. Somebody would want an invigorating spray. Somebody would want a pulsating spray, maybe aimed more at a massage experience. So the technology behind the shower head should work to be able to provide these sprays, not just in terms of just the water delivery, but also the ability to change from one spray mode to the other seamlessly. Just as a very small example, without wearing a Hansgrohe hat, we have a select functionality on our hand showers which allows the change of modes seamlessly. That's a little bit on the consumer experience side. The second most important factor is, I think, raised by many of the panelists, which is aesthetics, but without compromising functionality and the ease of understanding things. I mean, I'm sure even without being an architect, I know of the challenge where a lot of our end customers also, they want so many things in a bathroom, and sometimes they want separate controls for each of the fixtures, and then the bathroom wall becomes a mess. So the word that I've heard more often in the last 2 years is decluttering. So you want the ability through the product technology or configuration to have multiple deliveries of water, but if possible from a decluttered wall. So from a single panel, something like what we have in our Range Select, where you have 4 or 5 functionalities that can be given from a single panel. So that's the second part. The ease of, we talk about ease of business. This is also the ease of functionality and yet managing the aesthetics. The last point largely will be around sustainability. I mean, clearly you can give as much experience that you want and you can make it as functional, but if you're not focusing on sustainability, it's a challenge. So the amount of work that Hansgrohe does, on even controlling how a water droplet is made, increasing its size by adding air and reducing water consumption, or making it a microfine droplet and ensuring that the water droplet clings to the body and improves the experience. I mean, these are just some very small examples, but clearly a lot of effort on the sustainability side by using our technology expertise. So I would put these 3 points as the critical points.
Very well, Gaurav. I mean, interesting that Hansgrohe is not just about your delivery and sales; it's also about conscious about what's going on for the user as well as the resource. Bhuvanesh, do you have anything to add here?
I'm so impressed by your moderation. The maximum feedback that I'm getting about is, and there are a whole lot of questions which are coming in, but let me tell you,
you have to find room for questions. Yeah,
come again.
You have to find room for questions.
Oh yeah, there are questions are coming in, so that we'll do towards the end. But let me tell you, I'm neither a traveler, neither an architect, nor am I a hotelier per se, a owner or an operator. But as a traveler, I have seen the experience of Hansgrohe grow, right? Hansgrohe, and completely top of the line. But I shall leave it for the experts right now, and I'll come in towards the end.
Awesome. Thank you. Gaurav, you have actually made me again very guilt conscious. That little, bathroom, that bathtub experience in Chennai, okay, where I did have a good time, in a window ledge bathtub, and then I emptied it, and the time it took to empty and the terrible feeling I had actually makes me, put water, water is more precious than ever. Dry shampoos are available, but dry showers, not so much as waterless urinals, right? Water conservation and sustainability, that's non-negotiable to me. We have to bring that on the table. So let's talk about sustainability, okay? Going back to Sonali, the architect here, okay? Sonali, can you share a few water conservation methods that the bathroom designers can implement or the amenity supplier can adopt in their products? According to you, how can we maintain conservation and sustainability in hospitality?
Yeah, before we go on to conservation and sustainability, one of the points that I wanted to talk about, which is pretty much in connection with what Monica said about creating that little quirk, that little interest in even a smaller hotel. One of the points I wanted to bring forward is that even in the 3-star and 4-star business hotels, what one tries to look at is to bring in a cultural nuance, which is pertaining. So you always try and keep that one element or that one small thing somewhere that will connect you to the context of the place. For example, whether it be Radisson, you're looking at a color palette or a slight sort of a stone detail or any such thing, So these little things which would still fall within the tenets of the brand standards can still create that element of interest. And when we did a whole document for AGI for the 3-star, 4-star business hotels in India, that is one of the elements that we kept in mind, how to give each place some identity. You are in Kerala, you have to have that one little thing that will speak Kerala, that one tiny bit, So that was one thing I wanted to just talk about. And also now with the advent of the lifestyle hotels, I think when we come to sustainability, you see a lot of the luxury hotels or the standard hotels have a lot of fixed ways of going about things. And when we start talking of sustainability, of course, one is the back-end technology, what Gaurav also talked about, which is in terms of your fixtures and fittings, which are inherently always exploring how to reduce your water usage, etc., etc. The second is, of course, your entire project being in terms of, your reuse, recycle, etc., which is at a larger scale. But what I feel, these things are, I would say, a given. Today, any MEP background will always want to look at, these are standard things that we would look at going forward. But to me, what is really important is that how do you go into the lifestyle and bring sustainability into the forefront, So I feel that the way these lifestyle hotels have come up, and they have actually taken various aspects, because these are non-standard, there are no brand standards that define these most of the time. So they have had the opportunity of trying to recreate a lot of basic sort of stories that a hotel needs to tell, and one of them being how to bring sustainability to the forefront. So I think little things like use of linen, use of recycled materials, use of local crafts, local materials, etc., can be a very, very nice way of bringing sustainability in an abstract manner into the hotel as a part of a design element. And that's what we would look at as an architect. Where do you sort of, when you're looking at a cradle to grave story of various material choices, what all do you choose? We could look at, dharis, we could look at handmade carpets, you could look at a lot of things which are non-standard, but they bring about a sense of a cultural context. It brings about a sense of rootedness. It also brings a sense of design, which can be very, very well integrated into an international kind of a platform. So I think as a designer, one should be looking at bringing sustainability in various forms, which are more on these lines as well, into a hotel, and sort of, the way industrial became chic. and the raw and stressed became popular. Sustainability and these materials and these approaches could be glamorized and made very, very chic.
Awesome. Well, I think, yes, absolutely. Sonali, I think we also absolutely believe in what you're saying, and even when you responded to how to bring that placemaking, I think sustainability also should be placemaking. If it's the right weather, we use the right kind of local thought that goes behind the mechanics. Staying on design, Sahil, are you driving? Is it safe for me to ask you this question? You seem to be on a...
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I'm fine. You can go ahead with your question.
We have a panelist speaking from a car. I might as well talk to Michael.
Let me tell you, Sahil and his boss have just launched a brand new Radisson in Bareilly. So they went there this morning, launched it, and they're coming back. That's the kind of effort.
Awesome. Good luck on that. Well, Sahil, I want to, now that I have your attention, I wanted to understand, what is Radisson Group's policy on water conservation? How do you try to strike the balance in your project, man? Tell us about, your brand and approach quickly, maybe, on design, innovation, conservation in the bathrooms.
Sure. So we obviously believe in responsible business. And the focus moving forward is to promote responsible building and obviously the operational practices that go around, with operating these hotels. So our corporate responsible business is termed as Think Planet, which is a corporate program that really focuses on minimizing energy and water consumption, which all amounts to, at the end of the day, low carbon footprint. So we have an internal target, by the way, to become a zero carbon footprint company by the year 2025.
Okay.
Just to let you know, we are part of Sustainability Hospitality Alliance, which is an alliance of leading 14 hotel chains across the world. Let me just put things in perspective. So we saved 84,164 cubic meters of grey or black water, which was collected and reused in 2019. That is equivalent to a mammoth 336 Olympic swimming pools. Across the entire group, water consumption was reduced to 470 liters per occupied room in 2019, which is roughly a 7% reduction as compared to 2017. So obviously we take extreme care in selection of our bathroom fixtures, which are usually preferred, which have controlled flow rates, especially in the case of overhead and handheld showers. We also use low capacity tanks for bathrooms in order to conserve water. Moving forward, I would also like to tell you that we obviously use solar panels to generate hot water, which in turn helps us reduce our heat, light, and power flows. So that's the overall philosophy with regard to water conservation.
Right. Well, that's very impressive. Monica, what do you do as your business direction or your design strategy for hotel water conservation, sustainability? What's your approach, MBD Group?
Well, this question is very interesting, Sahil, because we design in-house hotels. So we lay a lot of emphasis. Just because Radisson and these groups, they have brand standards which are very stringent, and we follow them also. But going forward, our hotels, we actually, our team and the brand standard team, we work together to select whatever we want to do in the hotel. So it's a very cohesive experience. So whatever you arrive at is probably a baby of the brand and of the operation. So in this, going forward, and of course we have adopted some technology in existing hotels also, that we like to repurpose our water for the WCs, for the cooling tower, for harvesting. Harvesting has been done since ages, but for repurposing, we do all those techniques. But yes, there are a lot of equipments which are now available in the market which help us to do this in a more efficient way. The problem is we do not probably sometimes we do not involve ourselves right at the MEP stage, right at the mock-up stage, that these factors have to be inbuilt. Whatever we are adopting, and ultimately the consumer experience is not going bad. It is maintained, even if whatever we do. So right at the mock-up stage, we have to work with the MEP consultant, and we see the output. The consumer experience is not going bad anywhere, whether it's in terms of technology, whether in terms of sustainability. Technology will help us a lot in bringing all this sustainability in. And with all these Hansgrohe I saw, and otherwise also we've seen, we have misty showers with the air and everything. They definitely, the cost is 30%, cost is little higher. But I think with the reduction in the amount of water to 20 to 30% of usage, it is worth it. So it's worth it. I mean, definitely they'll look at India's strategy is pricing. It is a different thing. But if we talk about budget hotels, which we are going to do, there are a lot of existing budget hotels which they can't do much in terms of changing the piping and changing other equipments to bring sustainability. But little things they can definitely do, like it's a 250 or 300 rupees fixture, which is flow restrictors. So those they can adopt. Few things they can do. I mean, the budget hotels may not be able to do in terms of harvesting or doing something like that, or using in cooling towers, but definitely so they can use in WCs, etc. So what I say is there are a lot of technologies now available happily where we can achieve the sustainability factor, especially to do so with water, because that is consumed in large quantity, 30% more quantity if we look at it for just a household. So we have a lot of responsibility on your shoulders. I think we should definitely look at it. And regarding the carbon footprint, which I think the previous speakers were speaking about, we'll be preferring biophilic interiors where we can reduce the carbon footprint also. It's all about the comfort factor, and ultimately the guest should be rejuvenated and feel energetic for the day.
Monica, I mean, very impressed that you think that this should not be an afterthought, and you realize that certain things which might be a little higher capex could bring little higher, later the OPEX can be better. I also, well, I mean, talking about sustainability, Thomas, you heard the architects, you heard the hotel owners, you heard the operator. Now, how do you respond to it? What do you have to offer today? What is the newest trend in water conservation that you have? Thank you.
While water conservation is at the heart of what we do at Hansgrohe, because the water is the element we care the most about. I mean, overall, we talk about resource conservation. Let me break this down in three dimensions. One is, I think that's the most obvious, it's optimization of water consumption. So how can we deliver an outstanding water experience with less water usage per minute, right? So basically, if you enjoy a 10-minute shower instead of in the past maybe 12 liters or 14 liters per minute, you can get the same experience nowadays even with 7-8 liters. So that's something we do since decades already, and continue to do and optimize basically through things like powdering technology, the water footprint a day-to-day shower with Hansgrohe creates. But we also, in the second dimension, would like to think a little bit more bold about breakthroughs in water consumption. In the past, we had a business unit called Pontos in Germany, which was focused on the German market, where we had the ambition to go into a more grey water recycling business unit. Unfortunately, commercially didn't pay out, but it was for us at that time the ambition to say, hey, instead of only reducing and optimizing the flow rate per minute, let's also think about a second use of water. So in a German household, you ask the consumers to install tanks in the basement, where you would basically catch all the water from showering and give it a second use, either for gardening or for toilet flushing, which is completely hygienic. But you are also thinking in new ways of how you can reuse water. Nowadays, without telling too many secrets, but we are reviving that ambition and also thinking a little bit more in a decentralized way, not in the core, at the heart, at the shower place, how can we give water a second usage in the future? How can we filter water in a smart way so you can indulge in green luxury? Because we give the consumer a 25-liter shower experience, and at the same time we want to not always be creating a huge environmental footprint. And so by maybe combining the latest filter technologies into a decentralized recycle system at the shower place, we could maybe also create a breakthrough that within a total consumption of maybe 30 liters, you can have a 10-15 minutes shower overall experience which meets the highest standards of the customer. So that we are basically resolving the trade-off of having a fantastic shower experience and also not counting the minutes in which you are standing under the shower, right? So in the third dimension that's why I mentioned initially resource conservation. It's as a manufacturer, we have a responsibility towards the footprint each and every product creates when it leaves the factory. This is for us, we are thinking actively about material substitutions. We are thinking actively about use of environmentally friendly energy sources. I mean, Klaus Grohe, the second generation of the company, in 1994 built a solar tower next to our factory. And I can tell you one thing, in 1994, solar technology was everything then economical for as a overall energy source to support manufacturing. But it was for him a very personal ambition, and that's why still today the solar tower next to the factory reminds us about the ambition to switch to clean technologies and clean climate resources. The last thing, which is also what I would like to highlight, is product quality and the quality of design also help to conserve resources, because if you have lasting design and then not a trendy design which is outdated after 5 years, and if you have a product quality which supports 25 years, 30 years, 35 years of product usage, you ultimately save a lot of resources, because fundamentally the renovation cycles get prolonged. So at Hansgrohe we have the ambition to look at this resource conservation holistically, and also be more and more bold, because we all understand that we, as someone who provides and then thinks about water every day, we have a big responsibility.
Yeah, I mean, I feel so assured now that if I'm going to design a bathroom for one of the Radisson hotels, the operator knows what we need, the owners are conscious, and the designers have a checklist. So, and now the products, of course. So I think I feel little assured. Arvind, what is your thought on this? How do you source your products for your various projects? What do you do for, maybe also talk about, prioritizing cost versus operations, cost versus operating cost, in which you can conserve water and get a better operating cost.
Yeah, okay, so let me start off by saying that water is probably one of the basic needs for all living beings after air. So that is so much important, and water conservation is now something which globally any industry is looking at. As my colleague Sahil already mentioned, that at the Radisson Hotel Group globally, we have a responsible business code. In fact, we have a full function looking after this very aspect for all our hotels globally. And this is something which we do at every stage in our business, right from the time we build our hotels, and Ms. Malhotra is aware of that. Think Planet, he's already mentioned, that I will not get into.
Right.
But what we also do is that, whenever we go in for any kind of brand standards or anything for not only the fittings that we are talking about right now, I think the focus right now is on that. But otherwise, sustainability relates to the heat, light and power, HLP as it is called in hotels, which is the highest expenditure for any hotel. That is the top. Yeah, so that is so much important, not only from a resource perspective, but also from a cost perspective of the running cost of the hotel. So besides the fittings, which is of course the water that is consumed, we also have a lot of electrical appliances. I wouldn't say appliances, fittings in the bathroom and in the room, which could be the shaving mirror, which could have probably lighted, so it is now LED lights which are being used in that. You have the hair dryer, which is used in the bathrooms. Then the lighting itself, which is so important, but then again, the correct mix and the correct kind of lighting that one has can also save you a lot of power. And now there are so many such kind of devices in the MEP also, which are available. Things like the variable frequency drives, things like sensor-driven fittings, even for the faucets and such, specifically in the public area washrooms, even lighting for that matter. So all of these things are now becoming more and more prominent in terms of usage in the hotels, not only for new builds but also for the running hotels across hotel groups and chains. So that's a very important aspect. Another thing we look at when we do any such kind of tie-ups with any manufacturer is to see how they conduct their business. Does it fall under the paradigm of the responsible business as we have defined it, in the sense that maybe the electricity that they use in their manufacturing unit, is it free from the usage of fossil fuels, or what is the kind of emission of greenhouse gases that they have? So what kind of a carbon footprint do they have? So we get into those kinds of aspects as well when we are doing a strategic tie-up with any such manufacturer in terms of the low environment impact. That's what I'm talking about. Yes.
Arvind, what you have to do from my end and our panel end, at RHG, please be very strict at pre-qualifying your product people. Okay, this is the least we can do to save water, to save environment. Okay. No, thank you, Arvind. Did I cut you in between?
No, I'm through with that. So it's good to know that Hansgrohe is already doing so much in terms of innovation and technology, which provides the same kind of experience to the guest, but at the same time is saving on the water that is being consumed. And even our brand standards, for that matter, are defined in such a manner that they are in line with the international sustainability guidelines in terms of the water flow rate and so on. Sure. So that's how we do things over here at RHG.
You be tough on the pre-qualification, yeah? Keep it up. Great. Well, we have now understood what the designers want, what the owners aspire, what operators need. I'm about to wrap up this conversation. Last bit to Gaurav. Gaurav, you are representing and distributing Hansgrohe in India. Okay. What is your take on sustainability quickly, and why should somebody partner with Hansgrohe? Gaurav?
Yeah, sure. So I think on the sustainability side, I think a lot has been said by each of the panelists. So for me, it's about responsible usage of water and at the same time ensuring consumer experience. So I'll kind of maybe give it a shorter answer on that point, but I'll probably emphasize a little bit more on why Hansgrohe. So for me, the hospitality domain actually is a beautiful amalgamation of a number of requirements which are very unique, like design, like culture, functionality, and yet, they have to be put in a standardized guideline. And at the same time, from a manufacturer perspective, our ability to service all of this around the world. So again, I have 3 or 4 points which I will quickly mention. One, it's a global brand, which means that we have presence all across the world. That also means our ability to service the requirements is there all across the globe. From a consumer's perspective, it's a brand that is recognized globally as a premium and luxury brand, especially Axor taking the luxury positioning, Hansgrohe being a little bit more on the premium functionality perspective. Thirdly, all the points that the panelists have mentioned, whether it's innovation, Hansgrohe has been pretty much the inventor of showering, and even in an age as 1901, when you didn't have a bathroom in your house, we had people who were visualizing how water delivery can happen in a shower head. So from an innovation perspective, from a perspective of being able to meet design requirements through a panel of leading global designers. So it's not just Hansgrohe at work over here. Sonali ma'am had mentioned that you need not just the innovations from the product side, but on the material side as well. So our international designers are not working only on the product; they're working on the overall experience that will be felt, on the design side and the material side as well. So I think all these factors, and along with that, of course, our inherent green logo, which means that we are inherently committed to sustainability, make Hansgrohe the right partner. From an India perspective, we also have a dedicated person who handles the hospitality sector, so we will give it the attention that we need. So I think that's a little bit of why Hansgrohe for India especially.
Great.
And also, did you notice the green screen?
Absolutely.
Right. So I think we have had a very strong, and very meaningful discussion on how a bathing experience is not just about bathing, and it has a lot of more to do. And we have seen all 4 stakeholders. So I am done with my direct questions. And Bhuvanesh, over to you. Would you kindly wrap this up and open up questions?
I could, Siddharth, let this session go on and on. I mean, let me tell you, we have some very interesting numbers of audience. We started the show with over 2,000 people. And across platforms, so we're looking at a number more than 5,000 people who are watching across platforms. So that's fairly interesting for a first show. Let me tell you, I was a bit rusted coming into this after over a month. I was laid back with some issues, but I'm extremely delighted to be able to do this. I remember the call the day Gaurav called, and I said, "Oh, yes, I must do." And architectural design is something which is up my street, and I got to meet such wonderful people. Having said that, I have a lot of questions here, but I should shoot one to Sahil first, right? These days, hospitality brands are focusing a lot on water conservation in premium properties. How do you balance good water experience and water conservation? Alvin asks you this, Sahil.
So whether it is any property of ours, whether it is in the luxury segment or whether it is in the mid-market segment or any segment for that matter, water conservation is obviously one of the most important features. Having said that, the experience is equally important, and I think as Thomas was as earlier he had mentioned, in today's day and age, you have products that are available which do not dilute your experience, at the same time are very high on conservation, whether it is water or any other resource. So there are enough and more materials that are available which give you a very premium experience and are at the same time very, very conscious of the natural resources. So thanks to companies like Hansgrohe and others, our job is much easier, and luckily we have the best of both. We have conservation, we can get conservation, and at the same time extend a very premium experience to our guests. So that's what I would like to say.
Excellent. That's well said, Sahil. I shall ask one small question to Sonali. There are a whole lot of questions there for everybody. This question is from Parag. When you have a luxury property coming up in India, what are the India-specific design elements that you'd like to adapt?
India is a very large country. It's like a continent. So I cannot say there is an India-specific, but I can definitely say that it could be a region-specific consideration that one should be looking at. Like, for example, if you're looking at a heritage property, the approach would be different. If you're looking at a like a W level of property, the experience would be different. So lifestyle kind of a hotel, the experience would be different. So again, whether it is region specific, but from a kind of hotel to another kind, also the experience varies. So there is nothing set in this. Every property or every project has to be looked at specifically for what it is targeting, what kind of a market segment is it targeting, and what is the aspiration that it needs to create. So I think whether we are looking at materials, we are looking at craft, these are the kind of things that can be brought into a luxury segment. And as I've said, in a very good way, glamorized, to bring it into the forefront. Because I firmly believe that we are such a rich tradition that we have, and we have so much craft, so much sort of background. And I think unless we as designers use it effectively and integrate it into an international platform, that is the only way we would be able to bring our cultural nuance into a stage which is international and something which is accepted and recognized globally. So I think that is what I would do.
Very well said, Sonali. Now, permit me, Sid and ladies and gentlemen, to wrap up the session with a summary. Right? Don't go away. I'll go speaker by speaker. Let me start with Thomas first. We want to create a next level of bathroom design and serve our clientele all over the world. Is that right, Thomas?
That's exactly right.
All right. Sonali, she made an important statement. She said, bathroom is the extension of the living space. Yeah. And Arvind, brand standard and guidelines are key to delivery of a project and hence guest experience. Gaurav made two or 3 points actually. Technology is the platform for 3 key deliverables: customer experience, aesthetics without compromising functionality, and 3, sustainability. Showering is an intimate experience and we enhance it with our different sprays. Yeah. Monica, use of enhanced technologies like air, water, mixed showers may increase the cost, but it is the need of the hour. With the need to save water, and we have to give decent showering experience to our guests. Sahil, balance between sophistication and simplicity in a bathroom design contributes more to a great experience. Yeah. Having said that,
right.
Sorry?
I said that's right.
Yeah. And I'll come to the man of the show. Before I put you to vote, Sid, let me say what you said. Bathroom is the key element in a hotel room rating by any guest.
I said a lot of things, but absolutely agree.
I picked this, for want of time, I could have gone and on and on. So let me tell you, this has been an amazing show. Like we say in Hindi, mein, pata hi nahi chala time kahan gaya. What I said, Thomas, was you don't even know how the time went by, right? It's with somebody who's doing perhaps 100 to 120 kilometers an hour as he does the show with us, Sahil Khan, right? Or all of us here. How do you think was the moderation by Sid? I shall save my vote towards the last. On a score of 10, how much? Just count. On a score of 10, how much? 10?
11.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Sid, let me tell you,
very well executed.
Sid, there are a lot of comments about you. I think that there's another profession waiting for you as a side. Right? So good job. We shall see you again. Now we have 4 more shows coming, right? So tomorrow we do a session together, but day after tomorrow, 29th Thursday, 4 p.m., we have another wonderful session, creating sustained value. On the 6th, we have where innovation meets emotion. On Tuesday, 10th, we have enhancing water experience and design for every style and need. Can you flash the slide for tomorrow, Thursday again? Here you go. So we have David Cooper coming in. We have Ritu Bhatia Claire, who shall moderate. We have Reema Diwan from IHCL Taj. We have NV Hariharan coming in from Taj. We have Abhishek Mathur coming in. We have Rahul Kadri. Of course, Gaurav, my good friend, he joins me day after tomorrow again. Please come in, ladies and gentlemen. It'll be another wonderful show in the series. Like I said, it's called Creating Sustained Value. You must be there. Come encourage us, watch us. There's a lot for each of us to learn. Thank you again, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming, Sonali. Thank you for coming, Monica. Thomas, all the way from Shanghai. Sahil at 120 kilometers. Arvind, Gaurav. Last but not the least, Sid, I owe you. Or do I say we owe you for some wonderful moderation. Thank you. It's been wonderful hosting the first show of the BW Hotelier Hansgrohe India Design Innovation to Conservation series. See you day after. Until then, namaste.